What's up, people? Today I'm going to be talking about Solo, a Star Wars story in 4K and Blu-ray, and I got that coming up for you next. So Solo, a Star Wars story, just came out in 4K and Blu-ray just a few weeks ago, and I am just getting to it today just because there were a whole lot of releases that came out that week, and I have some catching up to do. So, starting off with the Blu-ray, just because with the new releases, I like to also incorporate Blu-rays with my reviews, because I know you guys all don't have the 4K capabilities, so here I go into the Blu-ray. And, this one is a curious one, just because of, black levels. Now, with black levels, you typically want to have them dip as far into black as possible without crushing, and here they go into a gray territory that just completely permeates the entire screen for a good majority of the more darker scenes in the film. It also gets in the way of some detail here too, just because I just feel like that gray is just so protruding that it gets in the way of some of the detail on some of the facial features of the characters here, and I just feel like this is at times a muddy looking film that does have some detail during the scenes that are not that dark, but in the darker scenes, this is just a muddy mess. I have to give this a 6 out of 10. I expected more. And getting into the 4K release of this film, this was actually given a 4K digital intermediate, so this isn't even upscaled. And even though it doesn't have Dolby Vision, I still expected quite a bit, especially from the HDR elements of this film, just because, hey, I wanted those grayish hues fixed. I don't really notice any of the gray hues fixed in any of this film. I mean, when you have HDR, it's supposed to actually help the color palette, not just leave it the same. I guess there is just no fixing this gray hue that I don't like about this film. And because of that, this actually makes it the ugliest Star Wars film out there today. And I don't really want to say that, because I don't actually hate this movie. I can't get away from it. In darker areas, the grays aren't as protruding into the detail of facial features, but still, this does come across as not a blockbuster looking movie just because the softness of this film is really, it just stands out still here. In lighter scenes, this movie looks great, and I just wish that the whole entire film looked this way, but unfortunately it doesn't. I will have to give this another 6 out of 10. I didn't want to do this, but I had to. And it is really going to hamper my rewatching of this film. So as far as audio goes here, on the Blu-ray you get a DTS HD 7.1 mix, and it is the typical Disney Buena Vista shenanigans. Wow. You know, when I watch a Star Wars movie, I really want to be immersed in the world, and it is hard for me to feel immersed and feel the immersion when the volume is so turned down and the audio is just so muffled here. Higher frequencies and lower frequencies tend to sound pretty muffled, and the mid frequencies definitely come out the best here. You do have some decent speaker separation and some okay bass from time to time. I do hear a lot coming from my surrounds, but unfortunately, I can't really get into it because it is so soft. And I had to turn it up quite a bit to actually get to a point where I could enjoy myself. And for that, I do have to give this another 6 out of 10. This is subpar. And getting into the 4K disc, we get a upgraded Dolby Atmos mix here, and I would expect it to be stepped up just because, hey, Disney, they stepped up the mix on Age of Ultron for 4K and gave it a new Dolby Atmos mix. And I didn't necessarily hate the Atmos mix on Infinity War either. Here, I will say that it is a step back, but it's not a huge step back. Speaker separation is amped up here, and I definitely enjoy that. This is a lot more immersive because the volume is kicked up in this mix. I still had to turn it up about 4 decibels, but nothing like the DTS mix on that Blu-ray. Surrounds definitely pack a punch, and the bass response is a huge step up from the Blu-ray itself. Height speaker work is minimal. You hear it in a lot of the score, and at times during the aerial battles, you get some height work as well. Look, this is upgraded from the DTS HD mix on the Blu-ray, but it is still lacking in some areas. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, and yeah, that's just how I feel about this one. So with this digital copy here, you get a Disney digital copy, and that pretty much means that you can redeem this on their website and then go to Vudu to view this in 4K and with the Dolby Atmos. And getting into the special features here, you have all the special features on a separate Blu-ray disc. None of them are on the 4K disc, and none of them are on the standalone Blu-ray release. They are all on the separate Blu-ray special feature disc, and that features a lot of featurettes that have a roundtable discussion with the director here, Ron Howard, and with the cast and crew. And you go into a lot of other different mini featurettes that are the standard, going into the characters and what they wanted for Han Solo for this film, and remaking the Millennium Falcon and what they wanted for that, and going into the wardrobing of the film, you know, all of the typical special features that you would normally see on a Disney release. But I would say that there is quite a bit here. Unfortunately, none of them are on the 4K disc, and I know that is something that a lot of people want, and that I would want. And I would want a audio commentary as well. Unfortunately, we don't get that here, and for that, I will have to give this another 7 out of 10. This isn't that bad as far as the amount of special features, but if they would have put a little bit more energy into it, I would have given it a lot more. And for my last looks at Solo, a Star Wars story, like, I don't hate this movie as much as everybody else does, but unfortunately, this is just so much of a middle-of-the-road film for me. I don't laugh a lot during this film. I don't get that jazzed a lot during this film. And I just feel myself just kind of coasting watching this movie. It is a good diversion, but it is nothing more. And I feel like I've seen all I wanted to see about Han Solo. And if you didn't watch my video review for Solo, a Star Wars story, when it came out in theaters, I gave it a 6 out of 10. And when you add up all my scores for Solo, a Star Wars story, you come out to a 25 for the Blu-ray and a 27 for the 4K version. Look, if you really like this movie, then by all means pick this up, but I wouldn't rush out to get this. The video quality and the audio quality are just much to be desired here. And even though you get a pretty significant amount of special features that are just all on the separate Blu-ray, hey, that doesn't warrant picking this up. I would say just pick it up when it's on sale if you just aren't in love with this film. So next, I'm getting into the first 3 X-Men films in 4K Ultra HD, and that will be coming up to you guys real soon. So if you're excited about that, subscribe so you know when those videos come out. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I don't need to tell you you're awesome because you know you're awesome. And I will see all of you next time.